We are going to, in this webinar, go through the UCF Libraries database in order to help teams and mentors utilize UCF resources in order to market research. So the UCF database is rather large, and we're going to go through just a few of the databases we have, the ones I personally use the most. So in order to get to the UCF library, you can either go to library.ucf.edu or just go into Google and type in UCF Library and go straight to the home page. And this is what will pop up. And you want to go right here and click on Databases. Underneath Quick Search, you just go straight to the databases. And it will show a list of popular databases and different categories in order to choose from. Because of what we're looking for, we want to go straight into the business section. And you'll see on the left-hand side popular business databases, as well as more categories, subcategories of business that you may want to search for. And in our case, we want to go into marketing. All of these have useful databases, and a lot of them cross over, so that some databases found in data and statistics will also be found in finance and so on. But the major databases we're looking for can all be found in marketing, and this is kind of the market research we're going to be looking at. And so we're going to go over 3 different databases that I use quite often, which are ABI Inform Complete, which is right here at the top. We're going to also cover IBIS World, which has market research, kind of broad overview market research reports available. And then we're also going to use LexisNexis Company Dossier. So the first thing I want to go into is IBIS World. And like I said, these are very high-level, broad market reports on different industries. So you click into it, and you will be brought to the IBIS World. Now, we are able to access this through University of Central Florida's account. And in order to be able to utilize some but not all of these databases, you will need to sign in on a UCF, on the UCF Wi-Fi. So that could either be WPA2 for students and faculty, or for those who don't work or go to UCF. If you are on UCF campuses and you log into the UCF guest Wi-Fi, you will be able to access all of these databases. So these databases are accessed directly through the Wi-Fi available at UCF. So as long as you're on campus and you have access to the UCF guest Wi-Fi, you will be able to go through all of these databases. So IBIS World has tons of different industry reports. These iExpert summaries, they're more narrowed down on niche markets. Yes.
Excuse me, Nadar. Yeah. Does that also apply for the School of Visual Arts and Design downtown campus?
I'm fairly confident it does, but I can't say with 100% confidence. I will make that information available once I find out. But I'm fairly sure that any UCF or UCF affiliated department has access to these databases, as long as you're connected on their internet network.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So in IBIS World, I mean, it's straightforward. You type in an industry, and if they have that report available, it will pop up. So if we want to, for example, browse through different industries, we can click right here on U.S. Industry Reports through NICS. And for those of you that don't know, NICS is a federally appointed industry classification number, and many different market research databases, among various other things, will use these numbers to classify the industry that the business is in. And so, for example, accommodation and food services fall under NICS 13, And the more numbers you add, the more specific in the industry it goes. So you can see that these 5-digit ones are very specific within accommodation and food services. Excuse me, this is the number of reports found under accommodation and food services. So it's accommodation and food services number 72, but when you go into the subcategories, it's 111. It refers specifically to hotels and motels, etc. So you can see all the different categories of industries that you can choose from. You have administration, business support, and waste management services in all of these reports, agriculture, arts and entertainment, construction, and so on and so forth. And you can kind of look through these and try to find the category you're looking for and see if that there's an industry report specific to the market that you're looking for. Manufacturing obviously will have quite a lot. So go through these, and again, these NICS codes that you find next to each category are widely used across different market research reports, and in fact we'll use these same numbers to find to form company lists when we go into the next database. So kind of at random, I'll choose one of these industries and just to see the kind of information found within. So we can go into databases and directory publishing, for example, and you'll see all of these tabs on top, which are different aspects of the report. And so the first tab about this industry kind of gives you the summary information, the executive summary of this industry report. So you can see key economic drivers, supply industries, demand industries that this specific industry has, and related industries to this one, major players within this industry, main activities, additional resources. And yeah, so this is the very high-level view of this report, but as we go into these next tabs, you'll get more in-depth information. Now, the layout of this report is the same across all the different industries, so you'll have always in the different reports found within IBIS World these the supply chain and this about the industry tab and so on and so forth. So the layout and formatting is the same, and obviously the information is specific to whatever industry you're looking at. So if you go to industry at a glance, again, it's more summary information and it's really high level, but it gives you some really good numbers to go off of, so you see how much revenue this industry has, the amount of profits, annual growth, so that you know that this industry has been in a negative growth since from 2010 to 2015. The annual growth from 2015 to 2020, it's projected. Wages, businesses, so on and so forth. And now you have here fairly nice data visualization. You see market shares. You see this major player, YP Holdings, owns 24% of the market, so they are quite a major player. In Dex Media coming in second place at 18.8%. Here you can see the industry structure, so you can see that the life cycle of this industry is in decline, that the revenue volatility, that it's medium, it's not very high volatility, but it's relatively moderate. Barriers to entry into this industry are high, competition level medium, and so on and so forth. And then here you have the executive summary. And then you can go even more into detail by going under this industry performance, which has external drivers and current performance of the industry. So you have total advertising expenditure and percentage of services conducted online. And you have a fairly in-depth summary on the current performance of the industry, and some nice numbers here. And then the outlook. So this is kind of projecting where the industry will be in the future, and where it's headed over the next 5 years. So you can see that it's forecast to climb and annualize 2.3 over the next 5 years to 2020. The rate of growth in consumer spending and private investment will ramp up in 2016, and so on and so forth. And here's a nice data visualization. You'll find these across all the different market reports. And you can see that these are different categories within this industry, and you can see the life cycle of this industry. Then you can go into products and markets and competitive landscape and look at their competitors. Again, this one is mostly dominated by two major players, but in industries with high competition, this will be very useful. The major companies, again, operating conditions, and you'll have nice data visualizations here and key statistics. So that's IBIS World, and you can obviously tell that this will have a lot of useful information if you're looking for a specific industry in order to sell to or in order to partner with for the various different companies that you that are within ICOR. So yeah, definitely take a look around within IBIS World and kind of get comfortable with it and search around for industries that you're interested in, and you will get a lot of great information. So the next database we're going to be looking at is the company dossier, LexisNexis. So you'll see here LexisNexis Academic. This is not the one we're looking for. So we're actually looking for the company dossier, and that's all the way in the L section right here. So it's the first one in the L section, LexisNexis Academic Company Dossier. And so what we're going to be using this for is creating a company list. And this is if you're looking for, anytime you'll need a company list. So if you're looking for potential interviews, potential businesses to sell to, or any of the other reasons you may need a company list, this is a great resource to be found. And so you go into create a company list and you enter all or whichever of these fields that you feel necessary. So you can limit it, set the min and max on the sales and revenues. We can say we want to search from with companies between 10 to 100 employees and above 1 million in revenue. And the company type, let's say we want only private companies, and we only want to show the headquarter locations because we don't want to search for any subsidiaries. And here pops up again is that NICS code that we use to look at the different industry reports within IBIS World. SIC code is very similar to NICS code. I prefer the NICS code myself. However, you're free to use either one. If you don't know the NICS code of your industry off the top of your head, you can go into this lookup right here, and that brings up a new window. And here are the different categories. So let's say that we want to look for professional, scientific, and technical services. And then you press this little plus sign to show the different subcategories within. And let's go ahead and check them all. Let's say that we want a broad list of companies within the professional, scientific, and technical services field. So we press OK. And then we can limit to the United States. This is geographic information. So let's say we want all Florida companies, and let's create the list and see what pops up. Now it's going to be, I'm guessing, a fairly large list. So 6,537 companies showed up. And so this is what you see here. This view is kind of the template view, but we want to customize our list. So we click here on Next Customize List, and this will let us form the table that we want to see and how we want the information displayed. So we don't want ticker symbols because we chose all private companies. We want the URL, web addresses, email addresses, telephone numbers, fax numbers we don't care about. Country, we know it's within the United States, so we don't care about that. SIC code, we didn't search for SIC code, but we care about the NICS code. Number of employees, business description would be nice. And let's say sales revenue, And these won't show up, and if they do, they won't be 100% accurate because these are all private companies, so this information isn't publicly available. So we press Update Company List, and we can see our list of companies customized in the view that we want. It takes a while to load. And here's our list. So rather large list. We could have definitely narrowed it down further. Again, we checked all the checkboxes underneath that SIC code, so that's why it's so large. But just to show you as an example, so you can see these different companies. You can see their addresses, their locations, their telephone numbers, their email addresses, web addresses, and descriptions. If you want to read the description in detail, you just click More Business Description. It'll pop up with a new pop-up, which you may have to allow, and it'll give you the full description that they have in their database. And then it'll give you your sales revenue. Now, it's worth noting that, again, these are private companies. This information isn't publicly available, so these sales revenue numbers for private companies are not always 100% accurate. They are gathered through self-reporting. So the information, the sales revenue information could be outdated, or they could have been misreported or estimated incorrectly, or any other number of different variables that could lead to an incorrect sales revenue figure. So the main use I find in it is comparing, in terms of scale, the size of companies. So yes, they may be misreported, but you know that a $1.1 million reported estimated revenue is a lot smaller than, let's say, a 50 million estimated revenue, and we know that we can at least compare the size of the companies. Also, the URL and web addresses and email addresses and telephone numbers, while at the time they were inputted into this databases were accurate, are every once in a while outdated and incorrect at this point. But for the majority of the companies found within the telephone numbers and emails are correct. And of course, if you want to know more about the specific companies, you can see what information LexisNexis has on that company. These are estimated $1 million kind of companies, so you won't have a great deal of information. So if we go into Internet Technologies, we can see the snapshot of information they have on them. So you can see their location information, the industry classifications, the business descriptions, the yearly financials, and the top executives, which is obviously great information to have. So if we click on this All Executives tab, so they have 2 executives in their database, and so the president and CEO is Anjan, and if you click on his name, it will go into the Lexis Academic Executive Search, and then you can search for his name as well, and we can see what pops up. So they don't have much information on him. Again, this was a small company, so there's a slim chance that they would have that information, but every once in a while you will find a lot of intelligence on individuals that you're trying to contact. And here on the left-hand side, you'll have various different information as well. So you can see if LexisNexis has any record of publications that this company has been in this case not, or any financials that it has on within their database. And so it has some information there, none that I can decipher. You can see if they've had any SEC filings. It's a private company, so probably not. Legal cases, we actually do due diligence on companies quite often here, and this comes in very handy in certain circumstances. You'll find legal cases that are detrimental to the company. So if there are any on record, you'll find them here, and no results were found for this company. So again, this is a small company, so not a huge amount of information on them, but a lot of valuable information nonetheless. Here we have what's reported as 194 million revenue company. So this is going to be a bigger company in size, so they might have more information on Rutherford Stuckey International, and so we can go into there and see the information they have on them. And so they have the top executives here, and they'll have more than the 2 that we found in the other ones, so not that much more, but still. So let's go into Steve Lush, see if they have any record on the president here. No documents were found. Again, yeah, so it's more kind of hit and miss with these, but when you do find the executive information, it becomes very useful. So yeah, same thing here. You have the financials in the news, legal cases, and if there are any. And look, it turns out that they have had one legal case, at least within this database, on record. And then you can click here and get more information on that and read about it and see if, get more information on it. So that's LexisNexis. It's very useful. Company lists are hugely valuable in a lot of different circumstances. And you could always copy this data into Excel because it's it's in a perfect table format, which is in the perfect kind of information format for Excel. But keep in mind that you cannot publicly share this information. You got it from the UCF database. And so you can cite information found in these databases, but you cannot just disperse it at will amongst the public, even if you are not faculty or a student here. So the last database I want to go over is ABI Inform, and this is what I use for kind of a catch-all. It is a database of advertising, marketing, economics, human resources, finance, articles, market research reports, and pretty much anything you can think of. So it has a fairly sophisticated search criteria, and you can limit it to peer-reviewed or full text, and you can limit the publication dates. You can search for specific organizations or NICS codes. Again, they become useful, so let's go ahead and look up NICS code here, and let's choose manufacturing. Let's choose electrical equipment, and let's do household appliance manufacturing. See what pops up. So that's the NICS code for that, and we can limit it to languages and document types and source types, and we can sort the results by oldest or relevant, the most relevant first, etc. So look around in there, and we can also obviously put in queries. If you're looking for, instead of a certain industry, you're looking for a specific keyword or some specific keywords, you can use their conditional search here. But for now, let's just see what pops up with this NICS code. So we have all these items that popped up. And on this left-hand side, you can see the different distribution of types of reports that appeared. So we have 14,000 plus wire feeds, 7,000 plus reports, 7,000 plus trade journals, all these different things that have appeared, and even conference papers and proceedings. So let's limit it to reports. Let's say we're not interested in wire feeds, but we're only interested in reports. And again, we want full text included. Peer-reviewed, it wouldn't make sense in this context. We can limit. So all of these have been published within a fairly short time frame, between January and August 2015. And we can go in here, and again, we can limit these different types of parameters. So we can limit the publication titles or document types or subjects, etc. And you can kind of narrow down all the results until you find something very specific to you. So let's narrow down as well by location. So we want to limit it to Orlando. So you want to include Florida, Orlando, Florida, and click Apply. And we have all these reports. So these aren't necessarily market research reports. They are different types of reports. And again, you can go through these lists and limit it to company profiles or any other kind of reports. In this case, we have 36 company profiles and no other else to choose from. So we can see all of these different companies pop up within Orlando, Florida, within this industry that we're searching for. And let's go ahead and click on number 1 and see what it comes up with. So we can see that it's the company name and what it's doing business as, address, city, zip code, a lot of the same information you would find in LexisNexis. And yeah, so you can see that they, instead of giving you one solid number, they give you a range. So you can, again, use these numbers in terms of scale and compare it to the other companies that you are finding. You can see its SIC code classifications, NICS code classifications, whether it's a subsidiary, its legal summary, credit and payment summary. And these company profiles and all the different reports that you'll find within ABI Inform are not sourced from the same location. So the formatting, unlike say IBISWorld, will differ from report to report. So some reports will contain a lot of information, some will be very small amount of information. It all varies, but the benefit of ABI Inform is that it has a huge amount of different sources of information within its database. So it will give you tons of results, and you can search by industry or by queries or keywords or all the different factors, and you can almost always find at least something on what you're looking for. And that's the 3 databases I wanted to walk through. Now, obviously, there are tons and tons more. And these ones highlighted are your best bets, or what the library has chosen as the best bets. And these are the ones that tend to contain more relevant information or more detailed information. So when you first come in here, you might want to stick to these highlighted ones, but of course there's all these other ones. And keep in mind, this is just the marketing category within the business database. So there's tons and tons more within the library, and you have access to all of them. Now, these are not all UCF specific databases, meaning you don't necessarily have to have a UCF Wi-Fi to access all these databases. A lot of these are publicly available, and UCF has just gone through the effort of consolidating it into one list for you. For example, data.gov, you don't need to be on a special network. You can access data.gov from anywhere. But it's nicely organized and presented for you in this consolidated format. So it's always my first place to look before I turn to Google and start doing some specific queries through there. And so yeah, take a look around, look for some information, look for some industries you might be interested in, and see what you find.